Good morning and welcome back to Mom Life Rewritten, where we are rewriting the rules on mom life and unlearning the burnout and just figuring out how to have a happy life. I am Sally Bisbee, a certified life coach for overwhelmed moms, professional organizer, and custom crafter. I'm sitting down in my craft room because it is summer and my kids are home, all three of them. My oldest just graduated college, so she is home too and just trying to get a little peace and quiet so I can record this episode for you. So, just want to say thank you for being here. Today, I just want to talk a little bit about happiness and how, as moms, we create our own happiness. One of the biggest things that I've learned from being a mom is that the only person in charge of my happiness is me. And I think we all know that, but I like to just share a little bit about my journey. And, it's funny, I'll talk to different friends, different people I meet just about life as a mom. So I've been a mom for 22 years. My kids are 22, 9, and 6. I became a single mom my senior year of college, very unplanned, but best thing to ever happen to me. I was a single mom for 11 years. I met my husband right before my daughter turned 8, and we got married when she was 11. So obviously, up until she was 8, it was just her and I, and then went through the dating stage and got married. And then my husband legally adopted her, which was amazing and a whole different story. But anyways, people will be like, I don't know how you did it as a single mom. And I'm like, well, first of all, it's all I knew. It's all I knew was me and her. And it was also really easy because it was just me and her. I could do whatever I wanted, whenever I wanted. All the decisions were mine. There was no having to factor in anybody else. And I absolutely love my husband. We get along great. We parent very similarly, but there's still always mom's way and dad's way and stuff of doing things. And so we had two more kids. That was the plan all along. We talked about it very early on. We were going to have two more kids. So we had our second and our third. And by the time I had my third, I really felt what it was like to be overwhelmed with mom life. I really didn't feel that as a single mom because we had a good life. I had a very supportive family. I was blessed in the fact that financially I made enough money to do it all on my own. I never got any sort of financial assistance from anywhere. I just made it on my own and it was very rewarding. It was amazing. Again, a whole different story. But when my third came along, I started to feel this like who am I even anymore? Like all I feel like I'm just a mom. I'm a mom all the time. I'm needed all the time. I am, if you've listened before, you've heard my story where I just felt like I was drowning. And I didn't want to feel that way. Like my whole life goal has to be a mom. Like I love being a mom. It's all I've ever wanted. If you know me personally, or if you follow anything, you know that I love taking my kids to do stuff. We go on adventures all the time. We just this weekend we went to two parades, spent a day at a pool, um, you know, spent a day at a park and mini golf. Like we go on adventures all the time. I love taking them to have fun stuff, but I had really gotten so wrapped up in being a mom that I'd forgotten who I was as a person. And, I also chose for 8 years when my second child was born. I left my corporate job and came home to do daycare and did daycare for 8 years until my youngest went off to kindergarten this past fall. And while it was 100% the right decision for our family, the money we saved, me being able to be the one to be home and raise the kids, but also still bring in a full-time income was amazing. But it wasn't my dream. There was nothing about daycare. I always told people like I didn't I wasn't little thinking like I can't wait to grow up and be a daycare lady. Like it was never my dream. And so I always say, my big aha moment of where I feel like, I hit rock bottom, which wasn't any sort of rock bottom, but really just being stressed out and burnt out for being a mom was when my kids were 2, 5, and 17. Throes of teenage years and drama and all the, emotions that come with a teenage daughter, a 5 and a 2-year-old that loved each other a lot, but also fought because they're brother and sister and they're little, and me doing daycare, which I didn't love. And really just needing to find my own happy. And it was at that time that I did something that I've shared before, but I just want to talk a little bit more about this today. And just for you, like, what do you do for your happiness? How are you creating happiness for yourself? How are you making your life be the life that you want it to be? And so at that time, I created what I called Operation Happy. And it was literally just, me waking up one day and being like, I can't live this way anymore. I knew at that point I had 4 years of daycare left because my daughter was 2. She's an October birthday, so she didn't go to school until she was almost 6. She was 5 and turned 6 a month later. So I knew I had 4 years of daycare left, which was the plan. It was never to be done early and put my kids in daycare. And so I thought I have to figure this out for the next 4 years while I muscle through daycare. And I certainly wasn't miserable with daycare, but it wasn't my happy. Like, doing my own businesses right now is my happy. Like, I am chasing my dreams, showing my kids that it's okay to chase after your own dreams and all that stuff. And so I created this Operation Happy where I literally took my phone out, opened up the notes section, and was like, okay, I'm going to make a list of all the things that make me happy. I should have actually looked. I bet it's probably still in my phone. I haven't actually looked at it for a while because it just comes naturally to me now. But I made a list of all the things that made me happy. Things like getting out and taking a walk every day, getting fresh air, listening to good music, nights with friends, like taking my kids to do stuff, but like meeting up with people so that I also like get my own adult interaction. A lot of it revolved around adult interaction. I am super extroverted. I get my happy and my energy from being around people. And when you do daycare and you're around little kids all day, you really, really need that. And so I put together this list of Operation Happy. And I was like, okay, I am going to figure out a way to incorporate those things into my life more. And so it took time. It took time and stuff, but I thought, I'm not gonna sit here and wallow in the fact that like I have to just do mom stuff all day every day. I was actually with some friends yesterday and I said, I still after 22 years after being a mom, I still struggle sometimes with the lack of freedom that you have as a mom, right? You can't just like up and go, do whatever you want whenever you want, and that's hard for me. And of course, like that ended really early for me because I was 21 when I got pregnant, which was a choice I made, and I'm okay with that. But I didn't have those years where I could just like go do whatever I wanted whenever I wanted. I was either in school or college, and then I had a baby. And so, anyways, it's just more about creating your own happy, right? So I made the list and I started incorporating those things into my life. Another thing that that helped me a lot was my husband has a very active life outside of our family in the sense of he hunts, he fishes, he plays poker. He has his life outside of us, which I love. It's actually why I married him. I love that about him. I'm super independent. I needed a guy that was also independent and had a life outside of me. And I always tell myself, like, do you think he feels guilty when he goes and fishes or goes and hunts? Not at all. He's going on a fishing trip this weekend. I have no idea how many days he's going to be gone. Maybe 4, maybe 6. It doesn't matter because he gets to. I don't care. We're totally fine when he's gone. Um, but believe me, he doesn't feel guilty about it at all. He doesn't feel guilty, and he shouldn't. He gets to go do that. And so I started trying to take that mentality of like, why do I feel guilty when I take time away from my kids to focus on me and my happiness? And I'm an amazing mom. I already know that. But I know that I'm a more amazing mom when I take that time for myself. And so I started doing those things where I made plans with friends. I'm very strategic that I try at least once a week to see a friend. It's hard with mom life, right? We've got sports, we've got, thankfully there's sports friend parents, which is good. I love those moms too. But like I try to make dinner plans. Even yesterday, we went to a friend's house and swam at their pool, which was great. Kids went and swam. I got to sit and talk to my girlfriend for like 2 hours while the kids swam and barely talked to us. It was amazing. Filled my cup. It refreshed me. Um, I take a walk every day unapologetically. I will most days do it on my own. There's times where my kids come with me, and that's also fine. But there are times I'll just say to my husband, like, I'm going to go take my walk. And he's like, okay, have fun. And I just do it. No guilt that I'm leaving my kids for a little bit and doing something for myself without them. And so I just want to challenge you today, like What brings you happiness? What are the things? Maybe it's reading a book, maybe it's listening to a podcast, maybe it's, getting back to that hobby that you had before you had kids. Like, what brings you happiness? And are you making time for that in your life? Like, yes, being a mom is amazing, and being with your kids and doing fun things with your kids is amazing. But there's so much to mom life. People will say, like, are there things about mom life that you didn't really know before you became a mom and you realize after? I'm like, yep. I think you always know, like, you're going to deal with sick kids and sleepless nights and, siblings fighting. Like, that's going to happen. But, like, there's just so much more, right? The mental load of motherhood, always being like, what do we have going on this week? What sports do we have to sign up? When is their next doctor appointment need to be scheduled? Dentist appointments. Oh, school's almost here. We got to get school supplies and clothes and all the things, and just a constant, like, stuff going on in your head all the time, right? And then, oh, you got to keep up with the house and pick up messes after the kids and all those things. And so I just think as moms, it's so important that we remember who we are outside of a mom, that we remember what brings us happiness outside of a mom, and that we make the time for those things in our life, that we incorporate, those things, whatever it is. It doesn't have to be some huge grand thing. It just needs to be something that brings us happiness, that fills our cup, that, refreshes us. And, I always say, that as cliche as it is, you can't pour from an empty cup, right? Like, we have to take care of ourselves to be a better mom. And I think that's what life is really about when we, choose to be a mom and have these kids and bring these kids into our world, that we need to remember to take care of ourselves and set that example for our kids, right? That it's okay to take care of ourselves, that it is uh, essential to take care of ourselves, and that they get to see that doesn't mean I love them any less because I take time away from them. It took me a long time to get to this point of, like, going out to dinner on a weeknight, even if they've been at school all day and they come home and I only see them for an hour and then I go to dinner with a friend. It's okay. Like, it's still okay. And we need that time, and it's so important. And maybe being out with friends isn't your thing. Maybe you're more introverted and you like that time alone. Then, find your thing that fills your cup and refreshes you and reminds you who you are outside of being a mom. It's so important. And I just want to, encourage you, find what makes you happy, make a list. Do what I did. Make a list of things that make you happy, just simple things. Maybe it's gardening, maybe it's um maybe it's house projects. Maybe you're like me and you are happy every time you declutter something, whatever it is. Just find your thing. So, um, let's see. Why don't you like and subscribe, follow along on this channel, show your friends, share it with them. I appreciate helping me grow. I will drop some free resources down in my show notes. I've got a whole page of free resources, the ultimate time-saving cheat sheet for moms, just a single page list of all sorts of, like, time-saving hacks that you can do as a mom. I've got my morning and evening reset, which is a awesome checklist of the things I do, 5 things I do every morning and 5 things I do every night that just help my days run smoothly. Um, and as always, I offer coaching if there's ever a time that you're like, I'm ready to figure out how to make mom life just run a little more smoothly, be less stressed, figure out how to get rid of the burnout and the constant overwhelm and all that. I would love to chat, love to hop on a free call and just talk about how I could help you, different options for that too. So, anyways, I hope you have an amazing week. I hope you do something today that makes you happy, and just remember that your happiness matters, and it is key to focus on your happiness, to really be a good mom and show up the best for your family, your husband, your kids, all those things. So, have a great one.